teacher at Alpha Academy in Rockdale County, and also a basketball coach. My class is a self-contained 6 through 12 class at the alternative school. Special education teacher's role in supporting learning is to provide instruction to a diverse group of students with specific needs. In those needs, to improve our role as educators, we have to develop and maintain studies catered to those specific needs of individuals in our classrooms. The biggest portion of our responsibilities would be planning. So as a special education teacher, we need to plan and prepare for each day, each class, and each student for their specific needs according to the IEPs, and develop a plan that will suit each person's learning capability. The dispositions that I currently possess that will help me become an effective teacher is 1, dedication; 2, compassion; 3, honesty; 4, professional conduct; fairness; 5, respect for diversity of others. And being dedicated in any endeavor requires some level of commitment to what it is you are trying to accomplish, especially as a teacher, a coach, or really in any field. I'm consistently looking for ways to get better as a teacher. I'm not afraid to ask for help when I need. I enter my classroom each day promptly, 30 minutes early on most occasions, to prepare myself for the lesson plans for the day. I pride myself in being the team player. I'm always punctual for meetings and handing in all documentation and assignments. I also keep my class engaged with fun ways, games, and activities that keep them engaged into the lesson that I'm teaching for that particular day. Compassion. Compassion is another teaching disposition that I feel I have. I'm compassionate about each and everything that I do. I started out in education as a coach. Being a coach, I interacted with several different levels of people with athletic ability. As a coach, my job is to teach the fundamentals, but before I can teach the fundamentals to any individual, they have to know that I care about their success, and so they're able to take instructions based on the level of interest I show in each individual's success. The same goes in the classroom. In the classroom, you have to show each individual student that you care about them as a whole, not just them completing your work, but them completing work in every class that they're involved in. If they are not self-contained, if they're students that travel from class to class. Honesty is simply the best policy. That's a statement that we hear a lot, but it is. We need to follow the golden rule of success, and that's treating others the way you would like to be treated. And one thing that students want to be aware of is where they are, and give them honest feedback on what it's going to take for them to be successful, and then help them with their success. As long as the lines of communications are open with students and they understand that you are honest with them, then they'll give their level best. The next thing is fairness. Most students want to be treated fairly, and that goes with not only just the students in your classroom, but as well as your colleagues, paraprofessionals, and everybody involved in the learning process. Being treated fairly is a culture that has to be created at the beginning of the class, so that they understand that in this class or in what you're doing, you will be treating them with the utmost respect, and you would gain the utmost respect. The dispositions I would need work on would be reflection. Courtesy, and advocacy. I definitely can improve in the area of reflection, simply because during the course of a day when you're teaching, sometimes you get more concerned with the amount of information that you're passing on to your students, and you're not really reflecting back to is the way you deliver the information, was it effective? So what I tend to do is I get feedback from my students in the classroom to make sure they understand, asking for a thumbs up, thumbs down, or raising their hands, or getting information. And if I don't get any response, typically what I would do is I will get my para to critique what I've actually done in the classroom, to make sure that I don't need to reteach it, or I have him go back and ask questions with specific students that may have been exhibiting trouble. But one of the things that I can say is that that area I will need to improve on and do that more with my students in the upcoming year. The other thing is curiosity. With curiosity, that involves the students working together and working out their own problems, giving them problems to get resolved in a group together, or giving them questions instead of me leading them to the answer. See if they can research and lead themselves to their own answers, and then as a group collectively going back over those answers that they got to steer to help to make sure they're being steered in the right directions. Maybe answer more open-ended questions so that they can come to their own conclusions where the conclusions vary. That would be one of the things that I need to work on the upcoming year to enhance my dispositional skills as a teacher. Advocacy, I put advocacy there because advocacy typically is building a positive relationship with the students that you have outside of classroom materials, being concerned with what they're concerned with when they get to school. Typically, when a student comes to school, if they're having issues, social issues, family issues, or anything outside the home, it will affect the way they are learning in the classroom. And typically, as a teacher, a part of our showing of compassion is showing concern for their needs outside the classroom. With that, you build that positive relationships that make kids want to come to your class and work. My experience as a first-year teacher is teaching in an alternative school allowed me to be in the presence of students that had learner behaviors and different behavioral issues. So dealing with not only learning disabilities, I had to also learn how to have compassion toward those with behavioral disorders as well. Also, as a special ed teacher in practice, one of the things that we must make sure we do is that we maintain a high level of professionalism and ethical behaviors, making sure that number one, we look the part. We want to look professional when we walk into the classroom. We want to be punctual. We want to be prepared. Preparedness it wins half the battles, especially when you're dealing with classroom management and learner behavioral issues. When you approach your day with professionalism, your students, your colleagues, and everyone involved in the learning tends to treat you as a professional, and they respect you as a professional. So maintaining ethical behavior, make sure that inappropriate behavior from your students and from your colleagues is not tolerated, and is making sure that you hold yourself to a higher standard as a teacher. With professionalism and upholding our ethical standards, one of the things that was mentioned in the One Foundation speech is that we should all walk in a manner worthy to the calling in which we were called. With me, teaching is a calling, so maintaining a positive disposition of professionalism, learning how to be curious, learning how to maintain my classroom using everything that is gifted to me is what I plan to do as a new teacher. Thanks.